Yeah, what up? You're now tuned into the Stitch and Sham show. I am one half of the team, Sham Phoenix.
And I am the other, Stitch Early.
And we want to welcome you guys to episode 42.
Welcome.
We just had a snowstorm.
Yeah.
And this is the first time that we're back in on set because we was chilling. I know I was.
We had planned, we talked earlier this week. We was like, yo, let's just do a little Zoom joint.
Yeah.
But then we saw in the forecast, it's another snowstorm coming tomorrow.
Yep.
And so it was like, so when I talked to Shan, we were going to do it last night. And then it was like, yo, what you doing tomorrow morning? I was like, nothing.
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, let's get in and let's knock out an episode. You know what I'm saying? But just in case the snowstorm comes,
yes,
and we'll be prepared for it. And luckily, in the last 2 weeks, last Friday?
Yeah, last Friday.
And this Friday, we were blessed enough to be, given the privilege to watch 2 films.
Yes.
By a father and son duo.
Actually, there's been some pretty good films in the last,
I would say, month.
Yeah, in the last month.
And I know one that I'm looking forward to.
Yeah.
Is Judas. Oh man.
Judas in the Black is it Black
in
Messiah?
The Black Messiah.
Yeah, Judas in the Black Messiah.
Like, I can't wait till that joint.
That's the
come
Fred
out.
Hampton.
That's Fred Hampton. Like
okay.
Almost. I want to know because I'm the person like when I watch those type movies, I like to do the research.
Okay. Yeah.
And make sure like everything lines up. So I don't know if it's a biopic.
I think it.
Or if it's like based on,
so like maybe it's like a third party's
vision
of what it is
exactly. So it may be some things. Like it may be some things that were pulled that are factual, but then it might be a third party. Well, from my vision, this is how we saw it. You know what I mean? So, but I definitely want to see it because it has some great actors in it. Even though
we're going to highlight the Washington family here with talking about the little things, and then also last night. Was Malcolm and Marie. I do want to touch one other film before we.
I already know it's joint. So the crazy thing is we haven't even talked.
Yeah,
right.
But
I know the film that you're going to touch on before you even say it.
Because I started going and I was like, it actually was really good for Black film. To be honest,
1000%. Definitely.
So, I know I watched American Skin. Mm-hmm. I know you have not seen.
I haven't seen American Skin yet,
so I don't want to spoil it. Yeah. But I do want to highlight about how just in recent months, right, with everything that's happened politically, everything that's happened with social justice, we are now starting to see even though Black films have been around, we're not saying that, but we're just saying that these are now like premier films, and I don't know if it's because. It's more, home box office type of stuff.
So I personally think that that's the reason. So I think what happened in the past, like I even remember years ago when we went to go see the Kevin Hart joint. Remember we went down to the Rio to watch that joint. When it came to Black films and when it comes to Black films, sometimes it's limited theater releases.
Yes.
So what ends up happening is if you're in a city that they're not necessarily going to show that movie and you have to go to another city. So that hurts them at the box office and it'll come with the numbers tend to come out as doesn't always match up with the actual, whether the film was good or not.
Yes.
Whereas now we're at a place to where, cause I think Nate Parker also did, he did the film a few years ago and, about Nat Turner.
Is it a Birth of a Nation?
Birth of a Nation. When he did Birth of a Nation, it was one of those things to where it was limited release.
Yeah.
It wasn't everywhere. Whereas now with a film like American Skin, everyone's in their home. So it's nothing for you to just click.
And there's no real risk.
There's no real risk. It's like I can click it, I'll rent it. If I like it, cool. If I don't like it, and I'm in the confines of my home. So I think now for Black filmmakers, Regina King with One Night in Miami.
Yeah.
What was the other one on Amazon?
Okay. Sophie's Love.
Sophie's Love.
Yeah.
So you have films like that that may have not been able to hit every box office and done well in the box office, but from the comfort of your own home, being able to turn that on, and those are 3 films that came out this year. You know what I'm saying? That were like, amazing films. Like that I was like, oh, I would go back and watch these. Yes. You know what I mean? And then I'll be watching American Skin hopefully this weekend.
Yeah, so American Skin is on Amazon Prime. And this is the best thing about it. And I don't know if they did this on purpose, but normally whenever a new movie comes out on Amazon, it's probably like $14 in order to rent it. Yeah. This one is $6.99. I don't know if they've dropped the price since then or anything like that, but when I watched it, it was $6.99.
I saw it at $6.99,
And I think that's the thing that has kind of propelled, like you said, the black film maker, is that we're now in a position to where it's like, okay, I don't really lose too much money making the film. And then if I put it out on, a platform, a streaming platform, then people can watch it at their leisure, opposed to me trying to scrunch my box office numbers, even though I still think they're looking at like first week
sales and stuff like that. Yeah.
But it's still not the same as like,
it's not.
We put you in theaters and you didn't do well.
And you didn't do well because
now we're going to say that the film didn't do well.
Yeah, and I think that's how most people look at it.
So
yeah, definitely.
Even though we're highlighting the Washington films, I just wanted to make sure that we shouted out some other films that were streaming during the same time.
All of those joints was tough.
All of them were like super good. Selvy's Love was like
that joint was tough.
Selvy's Love is just a beautiful film.
Like I feel that like Selvy's Love and like Malcolm and Marie are like the direct opposites of each other.
Yes.
They're both, but they highlight like realities within relationship.
And if you look at the time frames, right? Like so Selvy's Love is a 50s, 60s type of 70s film. And the nature of people then was to keep things like, we're not gonna get out of pocket.
Nah, we're gonna
handle this like
we're gonna keep things close to the vest. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Malcolm and Marie is like, it's total chaos. It's total freedom. All out. We're gonna cuss each other out the entire time. Yeah, exactly. Because if you've ever been in a relationship longer than 5 years, you will cuss.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. Somebody gonna get cursed out.
Somebody's gonna hear some of these words.
Somebody gonna hear something that they don't like. Feelings is gonna get hurt, but we gonna get into that because it's a deeper joint. So we were like, hey, let's talk about the little things first, because it's more of a drama based film, not so much like drenched in reality.
No, it's not.
Like, to a certain degree,
it has some of it. Like it's with the little things. I don't think the premise, I thought at first when I first seen that title was, oh, this is gonna be about like the little things in a case, and it really wasn't about the little things in a case.
Nah,
it's the little things that we let get in our head
that take us
to other things.
Yeah.
And
so do we want? I just want to preface this. Do we want to have spoilers or no spoilers? Because I feel like it's been up.
Okay, so little things, I wouldn't spoil.
All right, so we're not gonna fully spoil it.
Yeah, we won't fully spoil anything. Let's try to keep it manageable.
That joint. But but we're not gonna spoil it for y'all. I don't really care about if y'all get it spoiled or not. But I do in a little bit.
Okay, so what we'll say is this: if you start watching this and you're like, you know what, maybe then just stop.
Then stop, because you may hear some things, but we're not gonna purposely
kill it for you.
Yeah, kill it for you.
But stop the video and go watch it, and then come back. One, because that'll probably give us 2 views that we're gonna manipulate the system.
Nah, facts. Yeah.
But the film is about Denzel being a former LA detective who does some questionable things.
Which you kind of don't know what those things are. You don't know what
those things are, but they're hinting at it the whole time. Like, this dude's like, he shouldn't be here. And then it made me think, right? Like, I understand why the chief. So the chief was, I don't know all these actors' names. I wish I should have.
I forget the chief's name, but I know.
So the chief used to be Denzel's partner, right? And they did some things together that they shouldn't have done. With the
and it was an accident.
Yeah, it was an accident. It wasn't
there was an accident that happened.
Yeah,
but that accident, because it happened and because of the friendships. Yeah. That he had within the department and different people, they covered up something. But because it was covered up, he can no longer be here.
Yeah,
he has to go elsewhere.
So he's then gone out to like an outskirt county and become a sheriff out there
in the middle of nowhere.
In the middle of nowhere, and then all of a sudden, a case leads him back to his old precinct, and the the thing is that there's somebody, a serial killer, basically murdering young girls, and he has like a type of MO and all this stuff. But
whatever Denzel was the one thing about Denzel, he was great at his job.
Yes, he was good at his job.
Whatever his position was, the even though everybody kind of hates him and wants him to like leave because they don't want to dredge stuff back up.
Well,
but they're like,
let him do his job.
But he's super
bit.
Nice at what he do.
Yeah, let him do his job just a little bit.
Nice at what he do.
Don't let him go overboard. Exactly. But just let him help you out with the case because he knows how to break down cases.
Yeah,
and. So when you see the title and you see the preview, you automatically think like, oh, so what they're saying is like you got to watch the little things about the serial killer. And it's like, no, you got to watch the little things about yourself.
So watching the preview, and this spoiler, and it's a spoiler, but it's not a spoiler. Whoever did the trailer,
they made you think that everybody was a killer.
Bravo, because. In my head, because of how they did the trailer, in my head, Denzel Washington
was the serial killer. That's what I thought too.
I was like, he's the serial killer. And it was because of two scenes that they show in the trailer. In the trailer, and I always forget his name. Rami.
Is it Rami
Malek? Rami Malek. Yeah,
something like that. Yeah.
Because he's in. I first saw him in Mr. Robot. Like Mr. Robot is dope, and then he played
great job
Freddie
Mr.
Mercury.
Robot. Yeah.
So there's a scene where he's digging up, and you see all of these holes. So after you see the holes in the trailer, after you see the holes, you then see Denzel in a room with a bunch of bags, and he's like hand on his head. So in my head, I was like, yo, he dug up all the bodies. Like he dug up all the bodies because he thought he was going to get caught. Yeah. And now he's trying to figure out what to do with all these bodies that he done. You know what I mean? So the whole time they had me like looking at Denzel questionably.
Yeah.
Until I started watching the film, and then you start to see like, oh.
Even in the film, there's periods where I thought, like maybe he did kill these people.
Yes. Like it can come off very much like, so they did a very good job. Like, it's like the acting in the film,
it's great. Oh, top
notch. Because of the actors that they had, there was like not a doubt in my mind. Like Jared Leto is a character actor that gets fully into, and he played that character.
He was
well,
even down to the walk and everything, bro.
He played that character well to where like it was parts of you that was looking at it was like, yo, he gonna get him again. Like you wanted to see him keep one upping them because he kept doing it.
Yeah,
like he kept doing it. Like
he was mad arrogant about it. Too.
Super arrogant. Like he knew it was one of those things where like y'all don't got nothing on me.
And I know you don't.
I know you don't. And there was just small things like even when they first took him and he was like, nah, I love crime. I love crime stories and all that. Like, I would love to help y'all. Like, and it was just very, and you never saw like Denzel get out of character.
Yeah.
In the sense of like who he was in the movie. He's very like subdued and stuff.
Yeah.
But the one person that got him out of character was Jared Leto's character. You know what I mean? So yeah, it was definitely, and I know the biggest thing with that one, I know there were a lot of mixed reviews about the ending of the film. Yeah. So not so much the film in general, but I've heard different people's takes, and I think we had different takes on like the end of the film. And for me, watching the film, I think the different takes come from like what your expectation was.
Yeah. I think bad endings are I think people are starting to do them on purpose.
I can see that. And because with that movie, I think the ending is bad based upon what your intention was while watching the film. Like if you were watching the film and you wanted there to be a definitive oh, they caught the guy.
Yeah.
You're not going to like the ending.
Yeah.
If you were watching the film and you're kind of like you almost forget about the serial killer because you're so enthralled in the storyline of these two characters, then you'll look and you'll go, oh man, okay. Yeah. This ended how I thought it would kind of end. So I don't think that anyone is necessarily like wrong. It's one of those endings that a person that didn't like it, I can understand why you wouldn't like it.
Yeah.
But it wasn't to me like the end of The Sopranos where like the screen goes black. And it's like, you don't know nothing. Like there's a nothingness. It's like, did he survive? Did he die? Like what happened? This one, it comes to an end, but you don't necessarily get the stamp on like who did it.
Yeah.
The who did it isn't answered.
Nah.
You know what I mean? Those
like
questions
kinda,
are still,
but not really.
Yeah, but it's not really.
Like they make you like and hate every character that's in almost in the entire
like
movie.
at points like at
like
points you're like, yo,
at some points I don't like Denzel some points there. And it's crazy because there's some points where like Jared Leto's character, I'm like, yo, this dude might be all right.
There was times where you was like, yo, get him again. Like, hey, fool him again. Yeah. Like you almost like rooted for him at points.
Yeah.
And then because even when Rami, when he did what he does, I was saying to I was like, he about to do that joint. Yeah. Like I was like, he about to do it. Because I would have did it. Yeah, because he going, I was like, he about to do that.
Yeah.
Joint.
Like you going too far, bro.
Yeah. And like I think the way that they do it too is just like even when Denzel is following them and you kind of go like, man, how did he know because he caught up to them, but there's no way that he knew
which way they
unless he knew like something, you know? So there's just little things that they point in that they did a good job of like twisting you.
That's why I was saying like the film was, the actors did a great job.
Yeah.
I just wish there would have been a more like definitive close.
Nah, yeah, I
only because people have been open-ending closings for a little bit lately.
Yeah,
and you'd be like, why are we just still doing that? Why can't we? Just...
Yeah, that joint, like, because once they started finding out stuff wasn't what it was with old boy, I was like, you need a part 2 or a second, you know what I'm saying, or another hour in order to. If you want this to wrap up with somebody being caught, in a sense, you know what I mean? But it ended up almost being like a recycle, you know what I mean? Type of thing, And that's why I said like when Denzel did what he did, I think it was more of a gesture of I don't want you to end up like me, because I ended up as somebody who don't see his kids, got divorced. I live
all in this because of the little thing.
I live in this shack. All because of the little things. And I see you going that route.
Yeah.
So let me give this to you to kind of like ease your mind because you knew the one thing you told me that was in that box was this thing. Yeah. And so let me send that to you. And if you get that, you're like, all right.
But it didn't even when he received it, it didn't even look like it mattered.
And I think it was because I think he had beat himself up so much about what he did.
Yeah.
And then the cover up of what he did. Because I don't even think it's the what he did. It's like I did it, but now I gotta like live with it.
Yeah. And there's no justice.
And there's no the thing that I was doing it for, I don't even get there's no end result in it.
No, I can't do it.
So I think him getting it, I think there will be that, okay, at least I know, even if this dude isn't the dude, I know that I didn't do something to someone who didn't deserve it in a sense. Yeah. And in how I look at justice.
Yes. Yeah. So that's why I think that film, again, that is The Little Things with Denzel Washington. We tried to give you a synopsis without beating.
We was going around a little bit because we could get straight to it, but we don't want
to. But last night, Denzel's son, John David, did a film with Zendaya, and it's a love film.
It's a relationship film.
Yeah, it's a relationship film. And it does highlight a lot of political stances on the film industry as far as Black people are concerned. Yeah. The thing that I like most about Malcolm and Marie was it was a real, like, if you've ever been in a relationship, you know that that's a real argument, right?
It was a real depiction.
It was a real depiction.
Even time length.
Oh man,
like it was a whole night.
It was a like the way it happened was so in this film, John David plays a filmmaker who has finally made a piece of art that is noteworthy. The story that he highlights as a filmmaker is even though he says it's not, it's depicted. It's a depiction of his current girlfriend and her struggles with drug addiction.
Yeah. And,
you know, how she's, you know, overcame it. But I think he did a different ending to the story. I think he said, right? It was like,
well, it was, all right. So in the film, the thing that was like dope about the film is like it tapped into the different levels that we have just as human beings. Like in the sense of we all have parts about us that might be self-centered at times. Yeah. We all have parts of us that might be like angry, that's loving, that's caring, that's selfish. Like, you know what I mean? And I feel that like they did a good job with that. So what I saw was like, she felt the whole film, this is all me.
Yeah.
And what it seems as if it's like they never really stopped to have the conversation about, is it? Because it looks like me.
Yeah.
And then in the film, you come to find out through this butting of heads, you come to find out that there is a part of it that's about you, but it's not the part that you think is about you. Because remember when they're in the bathroom, after she wilds out, she gets in the tub, and then he comes back and he's like, oh, so you want to cut deep? Well, let's get honest then. Yeah. And I'm gonna get the movie is great in the sense of, in arguments, especially when you have a spouse, 9 times out of 10, it's this thing of leveling up. Yeah. Like, you said something hurtful about me.
Oh, I got something hurtful too.
I got something for you too.
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10, at the end of it, y'all both look and kind of go,
man,
this was a 3-hour, 4-hour fight that could have been 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And so she says some truths about him, which nothing that she said was a lie, but it was just how she said it.
Yeah.
So then he in return comes and is like, well, I have some truths about you.
Yeah.
And he's like, if you really want to know who the film is about, well, I dated a girl at this time. The part of my character that did this, that was her. And so now he starts to kind of belittle her a little bit by saying, I'm gonna really dive into it, but I'm gonna dive into it in a hurtful way.
Yeah, it was,
and tell you everything that I've done with the women that I did with, and what part was them, which eventually leads to him saying, the part of the movie that is about you is that you don't want nobody to love you.
Yeah.
Like, you think that I gotta want something from you in order to love you. So how the film ends, where it's tragic, and the tragic part and the tragedy, that's you.
Yeah.
Because you don't want it, and it just goes, and there's a point where you look and you go, oh, they might be over it. Like when he's sitting outside smoking a cigarette, and then she comes out, you kind of go, okay. And then she puts this song on, and I'm like, oh.
She's like,
and the song is saying like,
you're gonna break my heart.
You need to leave your man.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So
there's so many like levels to the argument, and only because I've been in a relationship for 21 years.
Yeah.
And we're at that point to where like our arguments up, like there's no love lost.
Yeah.
And I know that, but we're still deliberating. Someone's going to win this argument.
Yeah. In
square. In
some way, shape, or form. And I think it gets, probably the longer you're in a relationship, it might be handled differently, but it still be there. No matter,
we gonna go.
Yeah, me and my wife been together 14 years.
Yeah.
And so, does it happen differently?
Yeah.
As far as like the end result, but it go.
Oh, we go.
And when I'm watching this, I'm like, that's exactly how that joint be. Like, the part where she's in the room and she's just like, yo, I'm good. Like,
just let it be.
Just leave.
Like, we don't
like, just get out the room and just leave me alone. But he's like,
no, you said this.
So I'm gonna get mine out. And I was like, son, that's exactly how that joint be. It was they did a good job of making it a very like realistic depiction of, because I think the film is like an hour, 52 minutes.
Yeah. That's a solid hour argument.
That's a solid hour argument. And you seen them go through it was stuff that didn't even have nothing to do with nothing.
Yeah. Like, we've had it, like, me and my wife been fighting, and she says one thing in the middle of the argument. We get to the end of the first segment of the argument.
Yeah.
I go away and go, I wonder what she meant by like, my socks always stink.
It's like, what you
So
and you feel the need to go.
I bypassed like 30 other things that she said.
Yeah.
That could have been vital to me understanding exactly why she's thinking.
Yeah.
But now I'm like, well, so you don't So you don't never like when I cook breakfast for you?
Yeah,
and it's be like all that stuff I said.
And that's what happened. Like when she said the mediocre joint, and he came back and she's like, so of everything that I said, the only thing you heard me say was mediocre.
Mediocre.
You didn't hear none of the other stuff that I said. And it's like 9 times out of 10, when he went outside, and was just like, and like having a bull gun, I was like, I have done that
in the bathroom.
Like swinging. I have done that joint. So I remember one time. This is when we were at BB.
Yeah.
And it was one of them joints. I couldn't even tell you to this day what the argument was about. I have no idea what the argument was about. But that's all I know is that whatever she was saying was like pissing me off.
Yeah.
And like I was how Zendaya was, I was like, all right, you got it.
Yeah,
like just chill. Like I ain't even trying. I didn't even come down here to do all of that.
Yeah.
Like just chill. And I remember she kept going and going and going. And I felt myself getting tight. And it was just like, and I remember I punched you remember the closet door?
Yes.
That's downstairs.
I do remember that.
And I punched a hole through that joint. Yeah. Like I punched a hole through the closet door. So as soon as I punched the closet door, in my head, I'm like, man, you gotta go get a new door.
I gotta fix that.
And then
you just had a been quiet.
And then I left.
Yeah.
I was like, I gotta go. I gotta leave. Like I'm leaving. Like, cause if I'm that mad, I just need to leave. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I leave. I just go on a walk like down 40. And it's one of them walks like, man, if she would have just shut up. I said that I didn't want to talk about it no more. And she just kept going. Now it's a hole in the wall. And now I got to go and I got to buy a new door because she not going to buy it because it was me that put the hole in the door. So you having that whole conversation to where by the time I get back to the house, I'm just like, I put a hole in this daggone door. Yeah. This joint was stupid. And it was almost where it's like, yo, my bad. Yeah. And then it's like, my bad. I probably shouldn't have did that. Oh, you should, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you get to that common ground. But a lot of times, like if one person would just stop or if there's an understanding where it's like, I feel a lot of arguments happen. I always say it because me personally, I think it's because of a lack of the other one person wanting to understand another person's point.
Yeah. So
like if one person says the sky is blue and another person says the sky is sky blue, and the other person is like, no, it's not sky blue. It's definitely blue.
Yeah.
And it's like
both of y'all are
it's
right.
like both of y'all are correct. Like, but just understand why this person thinks that way and why I think my way. Nobody has to be wrong in the situation. No. And you can still both have your opinions, but not have to like degrade each other or wild out on each other just to eventually get back to that point like they did in the film where it was like,
there's one point in the film, like this will probably be a little bit of a spoiler, but it was the best part of the film where like they're arguing and then Zendaya goes into the bathroom and opens the medicine cabinet and sees that Malcolm has removed certain things.
Yeah.
And it's right after the dialogue of saying, like, why didn't you let me be a part of this film? Like, I would have made the film better. Like,
because I actually went through a lot of those things.
I know where to tap into those emotions. And she comes back with the knife. With the
knife,
right? And he is terrified.
He was like, yo, she about to because he knows who she used to be.
And she like basically plays the role that she basically said, you didn't give me a chance to do.
Yeah.
And she kills it.
She
kills it because I thought myself,
I was like,
she snapped.
So I thought that joint, and like looking at him, I thought that joint, but then thinking about the dialogue that they had, I was like, oh, she trying to prove a point.
Yeah.
And it's only because like I know myself and I'm like, oh, she about to prove a point of like.
And she proved the point.
Oh, she proved that joint. She proved that joint fully.
Because I was like, when I seen it, I was like, why is this film took a dark turn really quick?
Like, yo, she about to go ahead. And when she first grabbed it, I was like, I ain't thinking that like nobody was going to die.
Yeah, I was like, this is not supposed to happen. This is
exactly.
And then when she finished, I was like, well played.
But it was a real joint to where it's like you'll do certain things just to prove a point, like to get your point across. And exactly like that part. And then the other part that was hilarious was they're arguing, and then he walks in, and a film critic Somebody wrote the article, and
he goes to look
he's
for
looking for his wallet.
Yes,
because his Wi-Fi out where they at is acting up. So he's like, oh, I gotta pay for more Wi-Fi, and he can't find his wallet, and he's tight, like looking all around for his wallet, and then he finally finds his wallet and don't remember that his phone. He put his phone, so he's like. He's like, where my phone at? Because he's so mad and so angry that his mind is all over the place. And I was like, I've definitely been there to where you're so upset and so angry that it's like you're not in your right mind. So like, I feel in the film they did a good job of showcasing the ups and downs
in that small window.
Like in that small window. Like I'm pretty sure there's probably plenty of times that were great in their relationship, but oftentimes like by the end of it, and it, they come to their conclusion, you kind of look at it and go, man, y'all could have probably got to this a lot sooner.
Yeah, but oftentimes just the ego and for Malcolm, I felt like it was his ego. Mm-hmm. Because this is the thing that me and my wife talked about after the film was how being broken is not a class issue. It's not a gender issue. It's like whatever you've experienced in life. So Marie's life wasn't that great, right? But Malcolm comes from a well-off family. And the only thing, and from kind of what I was taking away from the film, like my own conclusions is this is his first real success in a family that's pretty successful. Right. So he's taking an opposite end of the spectrum of going into art, where his parents and his sister kind of dove into professions
like medical and stuff like that.
Things that could be looked at as more prestigious than, I'm trying to write a film. And that's what drives his ego. Right. And this is the first success I've had since being a filmmaker, and I just want to celebrate it. But I'm really celebrating my ego and saying, look, I did it despite what y'all thought I was going to do. Where Marie has like, listen, I'm just trying to celebrate, like not killing myself. And I think the biggest highlight of the film where I kind of started shifting towards like leaning towards favoring Marie was when she was like, you told my story. So now I can't tell it. And then you didn't even let me be a part of it. So you not only do you get to tell the story, I get stuck with all of the bad memories. I don't have no outlet for it.
Because now it's out there,
Because now it's out there. And you also get the glory from the film. So you get the gloat over helping me. You get to strip my story, and then you get the benefit from it. And I don't get anything from this. And then when the one thing that you could have done was just thank me, you didn't even do that.
Yeah. So, and that's why for me, like I ended up, it was almost like a tug of war, and I ended up in the middle.
Okay.
Because I feel that all of that, like a lot of the things that happened in the film, could have been rectified when a person just speaks and says, I think oftentimes what happens is like we hold on to stuff, and then when it doesn't go the way we think it's going to go, then we pour it out, and it's like, yo, if you say it and it still goes left, you have all rights. So it's like when she started saying some of the things that she was saying, and it's like, man, you're just bringing this to his attention, like after the film has been filmed, and like it's been, and because he said in the film, he was like, I told you, like audition for the role, and you said nah, like I'm good. So it's like, so if you've put it out there and I'm like, nah, the door's open, like, let's do this. But you choose to step back. You can't then in the end come at me. And I think that's where he was coming from. Like, you can't then at the end come at me when I said, yo, come do it. And then you say to me, no, I'm good. You know what I mean? I think sometimes when that type of stuff happens, it just causes a friction. And I felt that like some of it could have been rectified, one by him, the person you're with. And he could have maybe forced the issue a little bit more.
And I think that's what she was saying. Like,
and I think for
she
her,
felt like he didn't want her there.
And I think that's the thing, like, where it's one of those things to where us as human beings, like you said, ego can get in the way of it in the sense of we'll put what we think someone else is thinking on them, and it might not be what they're thinking. So even in the sense of like, she felt because he came from a well-off family and stuff like that, that he had no issues.
Yeah.
And this is the first type of like issue he's ever had in life.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, like just because that's a true statement and just because I wasn't, well, oftentimes I think just in life and in relationships and stuff, compare what you've went through to what I went through.
Yeah.
Oh, well, because you ain't ever been no drug addict, so you don't know about X, Y, and Z. And it's like, yeah, I might not have been a drug addict, but there's other things in life that I faced that may be different from yours, but who are you to say that it didn't affect me in a way how yours is affected? You know what I mean?
It was, like I said, I think it was just really good at giving both perspectives, putting most of the facts on the table, even though I still feel like there was stuff left out.
Yeah. You end up agreeing with both of them
in some form of fashion.
In some ways, like throughout the film, you're like, yeah, I see what he's saying. I still think
that Malcolm was still a little bit of a jerk, though.
Oh no, I think he was fully, but I think
bruh,
I think in argument mode.
Oh yeah, you definitely can go there.
Like I think you have some people that are just naturally. Like I'm naturally like sarcastic.
Yeah.
I can naturally come off that way. You know, I might even come off as a jerk sometimes to some people. You know what I mean? So in an argument, that can fully come out.
Yeah.
It's almost like you pull the curtain fully back. Yeah. You know, so I think with Malcolm, it is one of those things.
But that's the thing, like if I felt like he didn't own that though.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying?
I see
like,
what you're saying.
Where you're saying, I know I can be that way.
Yeah.
His thing was like, no, I'm not that way.
His comeback was,
he was like,
I see what you're saying.
Maybe he might like,
His was almost like he wasn't owning it.
Nah, he wasn't
it's like,
owning it.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to say, yeah, that's me.
Nah.
Whereas like for me, I'll be like, nah, I was being a jerk. I was trying to hurt your feelings on that one. But that was like, it hurt deep. Like,
no, I wasn't trying to do that. Like,
it's like, that's what you was trying to do.
Like, bro, you said some crazy off the wall stuff.
Yo, he like when I say they went in.
Yeah, I was like, all right.
Because it was like when he started on the relationships and then even when she went in on him, I was like, oh, snap.
Yeah, it was crazy.
And they had it was like there was the calm before the storm, then the storm. Then the calm before the storm, then the storm.
And if you ever been in it, like I said, the whole time I was watching, I was like, me and my wife will be cool for 5 minutes, and then I'll say something, and I'm like, damn, I probably should have said that.
Yeah, I shouldn't have said that joint.
Like
here we go. I was like, here we go.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. I'm like, oh.
I was like, I ain't even mean to say, I wasn't even saying it like that. No. Like, yeah.
I've definitely.
And it's a lot of times. Yeah, a lot of times it comes off of assumptions too. Like a lot of their stuff was assumptions.
Oh yeah.
He was assuming that, well, you said you didn't want to do it, so I assumed you didn't want to do it. And she was assuming that he didn't want her to do it.
And basically she was saying like, no, I don't want to force my way in. I wanted you to invite me in.
Yeah, yep. So it was like there were assumptions and like to where if they would have had this conversation way back then.
Oh, yeah, and
she says to him back then, like, yo, do you really want me to try out for this? Like, or do you really want me to be here?
Fine.
He may have been able to say yay or nay, or you know what I'm saying, whatever it is. But I think it seemed like a culmination, which happens a lot of times too, is a culmination of a bunch of things that it'll be one issue, the him not saying thank you, or that sock on the floor, or the toilet seat being up, or you know what I'm saying? What that one thing then trickles down, and it's like, oh snap, it's all of this too.
Yeah,
and that's what ended up happening. That thank you turned into a much larger situation.
Yeah,
you know
but
what I mean?
I think overall, again, because I read a couple things prior to, and people I think were just having a hard time trying to figure out what the argument was about. And I think for people who may not, like, again, I don't know the variables of some of these writers, like, are you in a relationship? Are you not? Like, you know, how do you handle things and things like that? Like that to me depicted a real, like, sometimes you get far away from the facts in an argument just because you're trying to win the argument, that you need to start grasping at other things to try to
where they wasn't even
proving a point.
It ended up not being about the thank you was a minute point in the whole thing. It was it was larger issues.
It was way larger.
That the thank you was just like, you know, the straw that broke the camel's back. Like it was that thing that was like, oh snap,
this has been brewing, and we're finally getting at it.
And that thank you got me to my breaking point to where I'm ready to say something now.
And I think that is how most arguments happen when you're in a relationship.
Yeah, 1000%. So I would say in relationships like marriage and stuff, and I think also in friendships,
family, stuff, all of that.
There was a joint that happened this week.
Yeah.
And this is like off of this topic, you know what I'm saying? But ties in the sense of like arguments, but shows just in friendship. So, you know, Corey Holcomb, comedian.
Yeah, yes.
So Corey Holcomb has had like, before podcast was podcast, like Corey Holcomb had the 5150 show, you know, and stuff. And so it's him and Darlene Ortiz, Ice-T's ex.
Yes.
And Zoe Williams. Like, so this past maybe like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I think it was probably 3 years ago when Ari Spears was on there.
Yes.
And Ari Spears got beat up by Zoe. Yeah. So Ari Spears ends up suing them, and Corey ends up having to pay $20,000.
Hey.
So Corey is like, cool, no problem, whatever. Zoe was the one who caused it.
Yeah.
Corey had to pay. So it's like the same thing. So when the lawyers came to Corey was like, yo, the lawyers told Corey to talk to Zoe, and then Zoe, you know, to see what Zoe could do and stuff like that. Zoe's lawyers told him, don't write the letter to get to Corey. Y'all, we supposed to be peoples. So when Corey found out that Zoe wasn't gonna like write the letter to help out,
oh, wait a minute.
But he never said nothing.
Yeah.
He was like, from that point, anytime Zoe did something, like Corey was holding on to this thing of like, man, I thought you was, he was like, his wife said to him one day, I thought Zoe was your friend. Like, why wouldn't he write the letter? And so instead of Corey, so the aftermath is they're having an episode. It's a show and they're talking yada, yada, yada. Somehow the 20,000 comes up.
Yeah.
And Corey is like, yeah, I had to pay 20,000. You know what I'm saying? When Zoe did the X, Y, and Z. So Zoe is like, yo, why you keep bringing that up? Like, I called you and asked you if you wanted me to give you the 20,000 back, and you told me nah. And in Corey's head, Corey is like, my nah is like a, man, I know you don't even got that to give me.
I'm
like
just being a friend.
I'm just being a friend.
Yeah.
But in the back of his head, he's like,
I want you to give it.
But I wanted you to help out and write the letter. But you ain't never do that. So now I'm looking at you different.
Yeah.
But it never, and on the show, it comes to a head and they have like a huge argument and they say stuff about each other. Like, just like in the film, they say stuff about each other that when I was watching it, I was like, oh, like Corey is like, I only keep you around because you smart. Like, you the weakest link here. Like, they, so it's like, son, it was stuff like that. Right. And then Zoe is like, yo, every time I take you to another studio, you steal something that I show you and you bring it back to your studio. So like, it's all of this stuff that neither one of them mean. They're just trying to one up each other because it's just jabbing. So Zoe ends up not coming on the next episode. Corey is a comedian. So on the episode, Zoe says, I told you, as soon as I hit a lick, I'm going to give you your 20,000 back.
Yeah.
And Corey is like, man, whatever. So the next episode, Corey has these t-shirts that say, as soon as I hit a lick, and then has the character Goofy on it. Like basically saying, oh, you Goofy. Like, as soon as you hit a lick, you're going to do it. So, and he starts selling these t-shirts or whatever. So then Zoe goes on another podcast. So they not talking. So this last episode that came out, Corey starts the episode off and he's like, yo, Zoe did something that I ain't think he would ever do. He's like, you know, I didn't see it, but you know, he came to the studio and he dropped off a check for $10,000.
Yeah.
He was like, man, that's what's up. Like, it made me think totally different about him because I ain't never think that he would ever stand up and do something like that. So if he's going to take a step towards me, I got to be a man and take a step towards him. So he end up calling him. They end up talking, and then he ends up doing Zoe's show, and they have a conversation, and they're talking about like the bad stuff that they said. And both of them is like, man, I'm not going to keep nobody around me just for that. Like, we've been together for 10 plus years, but when you're in the midst of an argument, it's all about, oh, you said what? Yeah. Now I'm a jab you, I'm a jab. So when I was watching the film and seeing it, and because I had just watched the episode, I was like, man, this happens in relationships. This happens in friendships.
It has
you know what I'm saying? It happens all the time. I think unless you talk, like the one thing I say about me and Sham, like we've been friends for 21 years.
Yeah, long time.
Right? For a minute. And There's been high times in our friendship. Yeah. There's been low times in our friendship. But the one thing is there's always been communication.
I think, too, is like a level of respect. Like, we don't, I don't know how to say it. Like, we don't pull enough from each other to feel like one person is not giving.
It's not giving it. Yeah, I feel you. Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean, like, I wouldn't say it's always even all the time, but it's never been a point to where it's like the numbers aren't as skewed. Like in my relationship, I know there's been times where it's like been 80-20.
Nah, facts. Mine too.
Like, it's just be like, I'm either just not there mentally or just not there physically. Yeah. And there's been times where things have shifted too. You know what I mean? But I feel like for us, it's never gone past 60-40.
Yeah, like we probably both owe each other like mad money.
Oh yeah.
But we just don't know what it is. But we just don't know what it is because there's been times where I've been down and been like, yo, he might be like, yo, you trying to go get some? Hey, I can't do that this week.
Brother.
Yo, just come through.
Yeah, we good. We straight.
And vice versa. Yo, I ain't got gas for the whip. Yeah. All good. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those types of things that I think communication is a large part of it.
Yeah.
And then I think, like you said, I think the respect level.
Yeah, as long as the respect
level, it's high. And I think even in watching the movie, you could tell that their respect level for each other was there, but it wavered in a lot of areas.
I think Marie's addiction made Malcolm think less of her.
Yep. And him doing what he did with the film
made her
think less of him. So they both had respect for each other, but it dropped because it was like, so you just gonna do a whole film about me and not thank me, or you don't respect me at all.
Yeah.
Okay. So now I feel open to disrespect you.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say whatever I gotta say, and then for him it was like, yo, you was an addict.
Yeah,
like you wasn't even where you was at today. If it was
you wouldn't, for me.
So you gonna talk about me crazy?
Put you in a film.
Yeah, so it's one of those things. So it's that type of thing. So I think the respect level has to be there. The communication has to be there because I think then people can work together. And I think even going to the little things, the reason why Denzel and Rami's character were able to work together was because he had a level of respect. He was like, oh man, I don't know this dude, but just how I see him moving, I respect how he's moving. So I'm open to say, hey, yo, let's have breakfast tomorrow morning. Like, I want to pick your brain a little bit. What exactly. I'm not going to listen to what everybody else said. I'm going to find it out for myself.
I think it's a real dope thing, especially because there's times in the film where you can see, I don't know if John David has studied his father, but or if it's just a natural like DNA type of thing.
That's what I think. I honestly feel, because the first time I saw him act was in Ballers.
Oh yeah, on HBO.
On HBO. So I watched Ballers on HBO. So that was my first time seeing him act. And I remember I would tell my wife, I'd be like, you could see, it's just an innate thing that just you can
see it.
And it's not like he tries to do it, because I don't think of Denzel but there's certain things that he does that I'm like, oh, you just been around your dad.
Yeah.
And it's almost to where like there's certain things that you do where you could be like, yo, that he sounds just like like Big Mark.
Yep.
Certain things that I do where it's like, oh, he sounds like Big Nick. Like, you know what I mean? Just because you've been around that person.
And like there was a couple of joints in there I was like, oh yeah, I think that might just be genetics.
Yeah, it's just like that's just your pops. Like
you just got it. Like,
you can't shake it.
Yeah,
because I've seen it in different moments, in different things that he's done, to where it's like, okay, no, you're not. Like you could see certain actors where you're like you're trying, and then you can see certain actors like when I watch For Life. I can I think it's ABC. It's the 50 Cent joint.
Yeah.
Like I can tell that one of the guys that he studied, and I might be wrong, was Denzel.
Okay.
Because you can watch the acting and you be like,
oh man.
Oh, but like not in a bad way though, like in a good way. You know what I mean? So
I hope John David and his dad do a film together.
Son, that joint would be dope. It'd be like King Griffey.
Oh man.
You know what I'm saying? King Griffey Jr.
That'd be tough. I hope they play father
that'd be tough. I hope
they play father and son and do
like if anything, if they can do like a father-son action type of joint, like Safe House, like, you know what I'm saying, like Tenet,
with a slight bit of drama,
in it, like I think that joint would be tough.
I'll watch that immediately.
Yeah, that'd be
no
tough.
problem.
Yeah,
but since we're highlighting black films, you got in March, you have the sequel to Coming to America, which I think
that's coming
everyone says it's looking like it might be all right.
The second trailer they did was better than the first trailer.
Yeah.
I think they should have just waited and did that second trailer because it gave a little bit more context.
Yeah.
To the film. So yeah, I'm gonna check it out. Cause at first I was like, I don't know. And then it's just, I guess because of what Coming to America means, it would be almost like someone coming, I'm trying to think of like another movie from like then and them doing like a part 2. Like what's a movie from back then where it was like, man, how they gonna do this? The one that you could say that they did and did well was like Bad Boys 2, because Bad Boy and Bad Boys 2 was a long space. It was long space.
I'm trying to think, because Friday did it too. Long space.
Yeah, Friday did it. Yeah,
and those were successful. They weren't. They surpassed the first one. No, they just kind of stayed on. They stayed
on par. Yeah. I'm trying to think one that's been that long though. It might be the only one, because I can't think of any other movie that I would want to see a part 2 of.
Yeah.
And I guess what Coming to America, the thing with it was I didn't even know if I wanted to see a part 2.
No, I didn't think
so. It wasn't a movie like with Friday. You wanted to see what happened after.
Yeah.
You kind of wanted to see another one.
Yes.
With Bad Boys 2, you kind of wanted to see another one. But
yeah, I don't think that this.
But yeah, I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna watch it.
We're gonna talk about it for sure.
We so
like good, bad.
What else is there? The one you talked about, Judas and the Black Messiah.
Yeah, I can't wait to see that, John.
There's another one that is not a black film, but I am interested in seeing. I want to see King Kong.
Yeah, that's what you told me. I haven't seen the trailer for that.
Oh, trailer's crazy.
Yeah, I gotta check
HBO
that.
Max?
Yeah.
Go on HBO Max.
Oh, so the trailer's on that.
Yeah,
I think
that Judas and the Black Messiah will be on HBO.
No,
Max.
I knew that. Yeah.
And King Kong versus Godzilla will
be on there. All right, bet.
And I was like, I'm down for watching monsters destroy stuff.
All right, bet. I'll check that.
And burn down buildings.
Because the one with Samuel L. Jackson was good. That joint was super tough. Yeah, that was tough.
The CGI on
that joint was tough. Because sometimes I be iffy about them joints. That joint was tough. That was crazy. Yeah, that one was tough. But yeah. So look out, man. Look out for some new. This is I think one of the best years, or I guess 2020 and 2021 time frames for like. I enjoy watching films from home. Yeah, I
like going to the movie theater?
Yeah.
But the movie theater is slightly expensive.
I like going to the movie theater for certain movies. There's certain movies that I'm cool with just like watching in the comfort of my home.
Oh, chilling.
Like just
eating
chilling.
The food I want to eat.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I like going to the movie theaters for movies that are gonna be like
you feel like it's going to be.
I feel like everybody
it's going to be like a pop culture.
Like everybody in the spot is going to be like almost like when the Fugees did Killing Them Softly and everybody's in the theater.
Yeah.
I like going to see movies like that. Like when I went to go see Straight Outta Compton.
Yeah.
And it's like everybody in the theater when certain songs is coming on. It's like Straight Outta, you know, so you kind of feel like you're watching it with a family.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
that's
joints,
always great.
Like the little things I like to watch that
Black
at home.
Panther was awesome.
When we went to go see Black Panther, it was like
straight awesome.
Because it was everybody. We all felt like we was in Wakanda.
It was African garbs everywhere. Exactly. That was dope.
So I like going for like joints like that. But like the little things, I was cool to watch that at the crib.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Yeah, like I was cool watching that at the crib. So I think that's like, you know, the dope thing is being able to experience it from home. And I like watching movies. I watch any type of movie.
Yeah, I just be going in.
I just like movies.
I even been watching bad movies, and normally I don't do that.
Like I can start a movie if it's I can't watch it. Depending on, because there's bad good movies. Yes. Like there's movies that are good because they bad.
Nick Cannon makes bad good movies.
Yeah, like one that he made that was good. Like Drumline if Drumline is on, I'm watching it. It's one of my favorite movies.
But it is a little corny.
But it is a little corny,
and it's fun.
And the other movie that's a little corny that's mine is Stomp the Yard.
Oh yeah,
like I watch Stomp the Yard anytime that joint come on.
Slow
exactly, all that joint, the crumping and all that. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
You Got Served?
Like, yeah, like it's great. You Got Served is corny and great. When Dancing in the Rain, like and all that.
Oh man.
Yeah, so it's certain joints that I watch. It's a movie on Netflix. I couldn't do it. It's called like Cutthroat City.
Oh, I think I've seen
Nah, don't do it. It takes place in New Orleans, and nobody sounds like they from New Orleans. I turned it off just because of that. Like, I'm watching the movie, I'm probably I'm like 20 minutes in, and I'm like,
no Soulja Slim.
Why everybody sound like they sound regular? Like, everybody had the dude that played Pac. He sound like he from California. It sound like dude from New York. I'm like, nobody. I'm waiting to hear somebody to sound like Wayne or somebody like.
It just never happened.
And it never happened. Whereas I watched Charm City Kings.
And that's good.
That's good.
Okay,
and Meek is in that joint. Meek does good in the role that Meek was in.
Has done films before.
Yeah, like Meek does good in the role, and they sound like they from Baltimore. Like the dudes sound like, I'm like, oh, these kids sound like they from Baltimore kids. Because at first I thought the movie took place in Philly because Meek was in it, and they had the bikes and stuff. And then so when dude was talking, I was like, yo, he sound like he from Baltimore. And then once they said that they were in Baltimore, I was like, this is. I was like, oh, this is. And then the storyline, everything like that was a good movie.
And I've been to Baltimore, so I know how. You know, what I'm
saying? That joint.
Yeah. So there's a lot of great films coming out. Make sure you check them out. We got to represent our people, man. Our people are making some really good. I mean, we've always made great art.
Yeah.
I just think in the time frame that we're in now, it's just being highlighted.
Have better mediums.
Speaking of being highlighted, please continue to. Represent and stretch your hands towards us through patreon.com/Arise.
Felt like we was in church.
You gotta stretch your hands. Help us out a little bit on a little bit of something.
For sure.
As you see, we are definitely in a process of trying to build and make better content for you guys. And while you're doing that, you can also go to arisemusic.com and check out some projects and things that we have there. I think we have our Venmo or our Cash App will be at the bottom of the screen. Please keep helping us out, man. We're trying to do some really big things. We
appreciate it for sure.
And just in the time frame that we've been able to start this podcast, we started at the top of the pandemic, and until now, it's been I would say a great learning experience.
Yeah, for sure.
Because normally me and Zoe are the type of people that we don't ask for no handouts. We'll figure it out. We'll get the job done.
Yeah.
But it's definitely been a moment where it's like, Mark, you just know that you gotta be open to people helping.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's something that I'm learning now. So please continue to support. We thank you guys for tuning in. Check us with the next episode 43.
Yeah. And hopefully on episode 50, we getting there.
Yeah, we moving.
Hopefully on episode 50,
think about that.
We might have some giveaways and stuff on episode 50. We might have to do some giveaways and stuff. Like, we almost at 50.
I really was like, when you said it,
when I was editing the other day, I was like, yo, we almost at episode 50.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. We almost crazy. 50 episodes in, man. That's crazy.
Pretty dope.
Yeah.
So we thank you guys for tuning in. We'll check you guys out next week.
Yes.
Peace.
Peace.